Update: Bestie's divorce causing issues in my marriage. Alice and I made plans to get together on Saturday morning. I was going to get us coffee and help her with a few things around her house before she left for a business trip Monday. My intention was to tell her that we, her family and mine, are worried about her and we all want to see her happy, but her behavior was worrying us. I was hoping we'd have a heart-to-heart. I was hoping I'd see my friend again. I was hoping she'd agree to see a therapist. I was hoping she'd take a step in the right direction. None of that happened. She was combative from the second I showed up at her place, almost like she knew what my intentions before I even said anything. When I told her I was worried about her, she said she was fine and has just been blowing off steam and having some fun. She said she works hard and can do whatever she wants now that Ken left her. She talked about how ungrateful Ken was over the years for all her hard work and everything she's paid for and done for him. It made me cringe, but I bit my tongue. For the record, Ken is a hardworking guy who didn't need her money. He was the breadwinner when they first got together. She makes quite a bit more than him now, but in no way was he dependent on her. Some of you pointed out it was likely that Alice was cheating on Ken. I asked her and she got extremely defensive. She gave me the whole "I can't believe you'd even ask me that" attitude. I reminded her about the hot tub incident and the optics of it all. She blew it off and swore she'd never cheated. I asked who the guys were. Turns out they were interns at her company. When I asked how old they were, she simply said they were legal. The way she said it made me wonder if that's how dirty old men talk about younger women. It was gross. Whether or not she was cheating before the breakup, I don't know. I don't really know anything about this woman anymore. Here's where things took an unexpected turn. As we chatted, she was packing for her business trip. I asked her where she was going this time. She said Dallas. I didn't think anything of it. She's gone to Dallas for business dozens of times. What did strike me as odd was what she was packing. Long pants, sweatshirts, a beanie, jackets, hiking boots. It was all fall attire and not what she'd be wearing in Dallas this time of year. I don't think I even saw her pack work clothes. But the weirdest thing, a random Seattle Mariners jersey. She doesn't follow baseball. She never has. I thought about saying something but kept my questions to myself. It was all just odd. I felt like she was preoccupied with packing and her daughter coming over soon, so I decided to head out. We hugged. I told her I loved her and want her to be happy. I told her I hope she considers seeing a therapist when she gets back. She said I'll think about it. Things did seem to end on a positive tone. When I got home, hubby and I were talking about how things went, and I told him about the clothes she was packing and the random Seattle Mariners jersey. He thought it was odd too, but, other than it just being odd, we didn't think anything of it at the time. But then hubby went full internet detective. And guess who lives in Seattle, and has a Facebook profile picture of himself at a Mariners game? Her daughter's biological father. My heart sank. When I checked the Mariners' schedule, they do have home games next week. I called her immediately and asked her if she was really going to Dallas. She responded, yeah, why? I asked if she was sure she wasn't going to see X's name in Seattle. She got quiet. There was probably a full minute of silence. I told her she better not lie to me and that I'd find out. She came clean. She said she had gotten in contact with him right after Ken left her and they'd been talking more and more. She said he was a different man now and has turned his life around, blah blah blah. I didn't talk about her baby daddy in the last post because it wasn't relevant, but just know this man is a piece of crap human being. He cheated on her while she was pregnant and kicked her out when she confronted him. He'd whack her around, call her terrible names. This guy said he wanted nothing to do with their child also. I flew to Seattle, picked her up and brought her home. She lived with me for a bit. She met Ken shortly after having her daughter and within a year of dating they moved in together. I told her that of all the shit she's pulled recently, this was by far the worst thing she could do. I told her I was disappointed in her. I couldn't believe she would ever speak to that man after what he did to her and how he treated her. She kept saying it was years ago and she's changed and he wants to meet his daughter one day. I started screaming and yelling into the phone so loud I think I blew out my voice. I told her I was done with her. I told her if she gets on that plane to Seattle to not bother contacting me ever again. I hung up on her. She called back and texted once but I ignored it. I didn't have the energy for her anymore. I just sat on the couch crying all night while my husband held me. He didn't rub it in. He didn't give me attitude. He just let me cry and told me he was sorry. Alice texted me this morning. She said she's sorry for lying to me but she's a big girl now and can look after herself. I asked her if she's still going to Seattle. She said yes. I blocked her. It's over. I told Ken everything. He was upset but not surprised. He said he knew how close Alice and I were and he was sorry I'd lost my friend. I told him I was sorry he'd lost his wife. You guys were right. I feel like a dummy. Maybe it's a little selfish of me, but I feel betrayed.